Hello, everyone, and welcome to Phoenix Gaming. I'm your host, Nick Henning, and we are here today to play through the first scenario of Frosthaven, A Town in Flames. This is going to have spoilers, but it's going to be kind of a strategic walkthrough of playing a two-player version of this scenario. I think spoiling the very first scenario is not that big of a deal. But if you want to avoid that, I would just recommend not watching this video. I can't help you out any further from this point. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk through kind of our two-player strategy. I am upping the difficulty from instead of 1 to 2. We are playing level 1 characters because I am playing with full information in the terms of both of my characters are going to be able to fully cooperate. I think that is probably overly difficult. I think that two human beings can cooperate at a better level than an increase in scenario difficulty of 1, but that is totally fine. Hopefully this goes well for us. We're going to see. Today we're playing the Bannerspear because I used her in my last video and I'd like to see her more, and we are also playing the Blinkblade because the token is small, and as you can see, the tokens don't exactly fit on the map perfectly, so Blinkblade served our purposes for that. I also think the Blinkblade will work pretty nicely with the Bannerspear in terms of having a pretty mobile character that can get into position and help us out. I'm going to talk really quickly about the 3 cards that I decided not to bring with me for each of these characters in this scenario. So the first one is Hit and Run for the Blinkblade. I don't think we really need to run up and pin people all that often with this character. The bottom ability here makes us have a ton of extra mobility in a scenario, which we don't really need. Overdrive here just didn't seem like that exciting of a card to me. I don't love lost cards unless they're really doing a whole lot for me. So getting a shield while I'm going slow and jumping while I'm going fast, I kind of want both of those to work in a scenario for them to be important, and I don't think that really matters much here. Muddling enemies within 2 spaces is nice, and being unaffected by retaliate is fine. This just isn't the scenario for that. Experimental adjustment seems cool, but there's a whole lot of text in here, a whole lot of enemies that need to be within 2 spaces, and I don't think with Algox in play we're going to have tons and tons of enemies, so we're not playing this card. The bottom is kind of a neat ability, but I just think there's better stuff out there. The 12 initiative is pretty good, but hey, we got to make some cuts. I made a couple changes with my Bannerspear based on comments from my last video. But we're not running Unbreakable Wall here. I don't think we're going to get a lot of scenarios where we're going to be able to hit people. And we took a bunch of our ranged attacks with us into this fight. So even though I think this bottom ability is pretty friggin' sweet, we're going to be going a little bit more ranged this combat, making sure we can cover distances. I didn't take Resolve Courage just like I did in my video before because I think it's a little bit hard to trigger. The Initiative 10 is nice, but mobility is going to be an issue as I understand it with this character, so I didn't want a bottom ability that gave us just a little benefit. And then Tip of the Spear I did not take with me because we don't really need the Pierce in this scenario, though the move 4 might be a mistake. It just doesn't seem like a big scenario to me, so I got greedy and took my other cards instead. We'll see if I learn a really tough lesson that way. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the game. Oh, one last thing before we dive into the game. I am using the XHaven Assistant app that you'll see kind of running on the left side here. Hopefully it won't cover, my face won't cover too much of that, but it's just a really invaluable tool for following along with the game. So if you have not used it or you're not using any app-assisted things with the cards, I really, really find that it helps my life out a lot. So hopefully you're along for that ride too. We don't really care about loot as well in this scenario, in the sense of there's no random item that can help us out along the way. That being said, we're still going to pick up loot along the way, just as I would as if I was playing for real, to comment on it, but I'm not going to draw any loot cards for it. I'm just going to kind of collect the loot tokens as we go. And with that, without further ado, let's rock and roll. All right, we are all chosen for round 1. We kind of made an adjustment to our starting setup here, but we're going to have our Blinkblade going slow and taking our second time counter here. And we are intentionally doing a very slow first round, hoping that these enemies will all go first, so that we can kind of advance forward on their position without maybe this archer shooting us. We're just going to kind of hope that this city guard over here is going to be okay against the priest here, so maybe shouldn't be too much of a threat for that person, and then kind of move ourselves into position. You might be surprised that I'm putting the Blinkblade in kind of the tanking position here. I'm doing that because the Blinkblade has a bottom ability to heal themselves that we're going to plan on playing while going slow on the first turn here, and then we're going to convert the Bannerspear into running tank. So we're hoping to mitigate any damage that this fella is going to do along the way. And then because I really like wounding guys with a huge amount of hit points, we're going to wound and then use the sand and the hourglass to wound this enemy as well. As we're just kind of slowly trundling on forward. Awkwardly, I had to play this card because I wanted a slow initiative, and the other slow initiative cards I wanted to keep in my hand. And so we're playing this basically for its base movement. We're not planning on actually summoning this reinforcement here, which is fine. This is going to be a pretty busy full room anyway. So let's see how it goes with the enemies. So we're going to start off with, oh man, putting curses in my deck. I have to like look up what happens with allies and stuff like that. All right, well, so be it. This guy is only doing, he's doing 2 target, but range 3, 1, 2, 3. He is actually going to move here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and is going to target both my Blinkblade and the ally. So we'll attack the guy with the lower initiative first. So that's an attack of 3. This fellow is going to go ahead and take 1 damage because he's got 2 shields thanks to his awesome boost for this scenario. And our poor little Blinkblade is just going to wind up taking 1 damage, which is not going to be too bad for us. So we'll make sure to shuffle that curse in. Let me do a quick pause so I can do that. All right, and now I'm noticing that this archer is doing kind of its maximum range, move and then shoot 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is going to shoot at our town guard, though, as he's closest and lower in initiative. So kind of another advantage of us going a little bit more slowly this turn. And, you know, maybe it's not great that he's shooting that guy, but the fact that he's pinning him and he's got 2 shields, that guy's hunkered in a corner. He doesn't take any damage from that attack. Pretty happy about that. He just lives his life over there. And then we've got our Bannerspear that's going here. Now, one thing that's a little bit awkward is I sort of wanted this fella to move up and attack the Blinkblade, but I don't think it actually matters too much for our plan. Well, no matter what, we're going to do an Incendiary Throw, and the Incendiary Throw actually gets a little bit better thanks to the priest moving forward here. So we're going to go ahead and draw an attack for that. I usually do a hybrid, by the way, of you know, in real life, I actually don't track the hit points on the app. We're going to do that just for space considerations here. I usually do all the player stuff, not in app, and then all the monster stuff in the app. Anyway, we drew +1 here, so we're going to do 2 points of damage to this guard. And target and all enemies adjacent suffer a wound, which we love to see. Great, that puts us through this turn, and then I can move or summon a reinforcement. You know what we're actually going to do? We're going to change our mind, and we're going to summon this reinforcement here. The reason we're changing our mind here is because we do indeed want the Blinkblade to be attacked, because he's healing himself, and he's going to put a Rejuvenate up. Alternatively, we can use this, like, we don't really want the Bannerspear to go up and get hit. It's not an advantage. There's no reason why we should be like tanking these attacks right now. So instead what we're going to do is put this reinforcement in play. Now the other option actually is to throw the reinforcement right next to the Blinkblade, in which case it's going to take the hits. So functionally this reinforcement can act as a, you know, prevent the 4 attack that is coming from the Algok's guard against the Blinkblade, which is actually maybe the most clever thing for us to do. If we wanted to keep the reinforcement... No, okay, this is what we're going to do. Yeah, we're going to have this reinforcement come into play. Big boy Algox is going to come up here, smash his face. Well, that would have been really, really bad for us. So, hooray for repeatable summons. We love this change in the game. And that poor guy is toast. You know, so be it. All right, our little Blinkblade friend here has all enemies that have wounds suffer 2 damage. We also forgot to bleed our guard at the beginning of the turn, so that's going to be 2 additional damage there, and 2 damage on the Algok's priest, which worked out really, really nicely with that Incendiary Throw there. We're going to throw that 2 heal on ourselves as well. We could put the rejuvenate thing on us, but frankly, it doesn't really... I mean, I'll put it on there, but it doesn't matter because as soon as we take damage, it's going to go away. So it's functionally gone at this point. And that is our first round. I think things went more or less according to plan. This guard in the back here having a shield too really made a big difference for this archer in a different scenario where his archer is shooting at us. It's a little bit of a pain, but admittedly, he would have done an attack too on our Blinkblade, who would then just be at 7 now with rejuvenate. He didn't move on his turn, so actually it really didn't make that much of a difference. And now we're in a position where this guy is right adjacent to our fellows, and we can do some shenanigans with our formation cards. So we're going to go think about that for a second, and we'll be right back to do round 2. All right, this Blinkblade character is insane. I haven't played it personally before. I have seen my brother play it. You'll actually notice later when we have an enhancement sticker that I'll have to ignore. But man, this is going to be a great turn. So we're going to charge in really fast with our Bannerspear here, and we're in the nice position to disarm this foolish Algox guard who is charged forward. And this Power Leak card that we know is going to go for the Blinkblade here, he can slot right in between these two Algox here, and if I want to, I can take a poison to stab both of them, and then that poison is not damaged, so I'll still have Rejuvenate, which means at the beginning of the Blinkblade's next turn, it will go off if everything works correctly. And then to add insult to injury, I'm going to be able to add Pierce to all my attacks this turn after moving, because we are going in fast mode. So we're down to 1 there. And let's see, contact with the enemy and all that, how this plan goes. It's going to go, I think, pretty okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to charge over here, do exactly what we said to start off with. We're going to draw a 3+1 to do 4 damage to this guy, which is just insulting for him because it means on his turn he is going to wind up bleeding to death. So that's a pretty good draw. Can't complain about that. We won't get our maximum value out of Power Leak, but we're never unhappy when we make a plan and it goes pretty well anyway. Sort of a waste of the disarm, so on and so forth, all that. I guess you could argue that I should have maybe just gone for a big attack, knowing that that guy was going to be toast. But I like to be cautious. If I happen to miss, having a disarm along the way there while we were in perfect formation seemed like a good use of time to me. And then now it's time for this Blinkblade to go. So let's think about this for a second. The Algox Archer is going to be pinning someone. The reason I'm thinking about this is because the Blinkblade could run over here or could run kind of to the original planned location of here, and whoever's closer is going to end up getting shot. Looks like this priest is going to try to heal himself. So I think we're actually okay with Bannerspear being the one who gets pinned here, because the range 3 allows her to throw her javelin on her next turn. So as the Blinkblade, we're not going to get in the way. We're going to let her go ahead and take that hit. We're going to charge up here. We're going to do an attack 4. Absolutely no reason to give ourselves a poison, but we will make a wind. Again, I normally manage that board in person because I think it's more fun, but you can manage it on the app as well. And we're going to go ahead and do an attack 4 against this fellow, which is actually only a 3 in this instance, but it is indeed a 3. Little bit of a bummer because then he's going to bleed for 1 on his turn, and then is going to move into melee, which already is, and then heal for 3, which is going to turn off the wound. That being said, it's not like he hurts us along the way. And then we've got this Algox Archer here who's going to go ahead and shoot our Bannerspear for 2 points of damage. And everything is going pretty dang well in this starting room. I don't think this starting room is meant to be terribly threatening, but at this point, we're just trying to take out this Algox Priest and finish things out. Round 2. Both of our characters, by the way, are 10 card characters, which is really, really wonderful. They're kind of like synced up. Our goal really is to try to get to a point where we are long resting at the same time with each other in this first lap through. And in fact, to that point, I maybe should have considered using Poison Dagger on this guy, knowing that he was healing himself. And I guess I would have killed him if I drew a 0, so it's a little hard for me to retcon that reasonably. But in retrospect, what I should have done with the Blinkblade is use the Poison Dagger, because then when he goes to heal himself, it just heals off the poison and the wound, but it doesn't actually heal the 3 hit points. So we'll have to keep that in mind. We're going to end up poisoning this Algox Archer instead. Yeah, that's fine. All right, this is going to be one of my favorite kind of turns here. So we have set up an option with our banner spear that the tops and the bottoms, no matter which way we go, depending on what the enemies are doing, is good for us. So we've got wind. We'd love to use the top part of deflecting maneuver for a 3 attack with advantage, and everything attacking us gets disadvantaged this turn. The bottom here is going to let us pull enemies towards us. Remember, we're pinned, so we can't move. Alternatively, we can just throw up shields and chuck a javelin at someone. So we've got a couple nice options here. And then we're going a little bit slowly as the Blinkblade here. We're not in a huge rush, I think, to take out this priest. The priests, sometimes they can go so fast anyway that it's hard to ensure that we're going to knock them down. So we're going slowly and just giving ourselves some options with the kinetic transfer that lets us move and attack, or we can do like a kind of weak attack top. Actually, I don't even know why we would do that instead of the default 2, now that I'm looking at it. Oh, because I give him a model. But I'm also kind of planning on just trundling forward and doing a damage to enemies. We will see sort of like what happens here. I think any of it is totally fine for us. Not a terribly exciting turn, but we're not super threatened by what the enemies are doing right now. So we'll see how that goes for us. This guy is just piling on the healing for himself, and the Algox Archer is going to back up and do a pretty heavy attack. So shield 2 or disadvantage is kind of what we're looking at there. And he's going to back up from us either way. Shield 2 and disadvantage. I consider disadvantage to be close to like giving someone a -1. Let's go for aggression. Let's go for experience points. I'm going to go ahead and do the get an experience point for the deflecting maneuver. We're going to pull this fellow 2 spaces closer to us. We're going to attack for 3 with advantage. It's only going to do 2 points of damage to this poor schmuck. Bump, bump. And yeah, a bit disappointing, but so be it. This guy already is in melee. The priest will then heal themselves to full, unfortunately. Then the archer is going to back up, unfortunately, and do an attack 4, which is going to hurt. It's only 3, and actually it has disadvantage. So it is indeed only 3, which will drop our banner spear down to 5. We're definitely getting a little bit hurt here. We definitely will say that we use the shield for this attack. No reason not to at this point. I don't usually use shields on the first time I get attacked. I want to have enough damage that if some healing comes my way, I can soak all of it. But more or less for these like kind of repeatable on long rest things, we're going to use it every time after that. All right, time for the Blinkblade to get in here and poison someone. Priest might be kind of the ideal target here. And we can either... Looks like we've got our kinetic transfer to do sort of like a ranged attack and a move at attack 2, or we can do the blurry jab. Okay, yeah, we are going to do our original plan here. We're going to end up making frost. I don't know that that matters at all. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Doesn't even actually make sense for us to kinetic transfer. We don't really care about that at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to move 2 spaces. 1 adjacent enemy suffers 1. We're just going to actually take out this archer instead. So he takes 1 point of damage. Then we're going to attack him. Might as well throw the poison on him. It's more efficient to throw it on this guy, but I really want to make sure that this archer goes down. Archer's a real pain in the butt. So we're going to go ahead and throw the poison on him, as well as doing an attack 2, which is an attack 3. Making that poison totally a waste for us because this fellow's at 1 hit point, so as long as we do anything to him, he is going to die on his next turn. Actually, thinking about that in retrospect, we should have really done the point of damage on the trundle forward to this fellow, but so be it. We make mistakes. That's okay. All right, let's plan for our next round. I mean, initiative 2, that's even a number. We're playing this literally just to go first because we want to make sure to attack this guy, which we're probably going to do with a base attack out of the top here. And then on the bottom here, you'll notice that this has an enhancement sticker. Go ahead and ignore that. We're just doing an attack 3 on our fellow here. We do want to go first, so we're going to go ahead and use one of these time tokens. Why not? And then fortunately for us, as the Bannerspear, we're standing right next to our Blinkblade, so we're going to be able to use a combined effort against this priest here. So we're just trying to go quickly to make sure we get all of these attacks engaged against our enemies in time. Uh-oh. That's pretty annoying. That's actually going to kind of ruin our turn a little bit. But so be it. All right. We are going to stick with the original plan. We don't want this fellow power shotting. Actually, let's do this first. We're going to do the... Here's what I'm debating. We could do the bottom attack against the priest here. Essentially, like if I drew a critical, you know, it did 6 damage to him, or +2 to do 5 damage to him. Well, he's got a shield. Then I was thinking that maybe I could use the top action to finish him off. But at 7 hit points, it's really, really unlikely that's going to happen. So I just want to make sure this guy doesn't power shot on his turn because he's just doing a big, nasty attack. So we'll start off with this. We're going to do base attack 2, which only does 1, which is all we really needed because this fellow was poisoned anyway. But even the poison was not required. And then we're going to go ahead and do the attack 3 on the priest, which is a +1. That's pretty nice. So we're going to do 3 points of damage to the shielded priest. And then annoyingly enough, he's going to back up. He's going to shoot our Blinkblade because the Blinkblade is in the initiative order there. And that shot is going to be an attack 3. Ooh, an attack 6 and pin. 6 is the number that you sometimes lose a card at. However, I think we're actually just going to end up taking the 6 in this instance because we can then kind of go a little bit slowly after we finish this fellow off in this room. Yeah. Yeah, that was really a huge bummer. Okay. It is what it is. There's nothing, I think, to fix about that. Sometimes things just go poorly for you. And our combined effort is totally hosed here. So that's unfortunate. And I can't even move my ally with me because he is pinned for this turn. He's pinned on his next turn too. What's he going to be able to do next round? Oh, we can add range. No, that's target. Really isn't going to be able to do a whole lot next turn. Poor Blinkblade. So, I mean, what we want to do is we want to press this fellow forward. I think what we're going to do is just use our driving inspiration to do range attack right now. And even with advantage, we don't really get that much out of that. It's just going to do a single point of damage to this guy. And I think we're going to advance on his position. I could have considered putting Banner of Hope in play, I suppose. Because what we wanted to do is back up into this guard here. Because the guard's in really good shape, and we really want him to actually be kind of taking some of these attacks at this point. Yeah, that is what it is. So we'll go to our next round, and even though the Blinkblade can't do anything, I really don't love prematurely resting, although in the Blinkblade's case, actually, there is nothing that this player can do. So actually, it's very, very rare that I will do this, but actually I'm going to have the Blinkblade go take a long rest. Definitely needs the healing. Yeah, I hate resting in general when the cards don't require it. But I might want to do something next turn, so I might as well long rest this turn to get that 2 healing. And then of course, we're gonna go at 25. There's no reason not to in this instance while we're already engaged in combat, and head into our 5th round here. We're gonna have the Algox Priest doing a pretty heavy attack against us. Clever. We're going to grant 2 allies within 3 spaces move 3. We can't move the Blinkblade, but we can move our ally. Pretty sure that's how grant works. Let me just check a quick rules check. It's an ally, and I'm a commanding figure, so it totally works. And then we're going to stab the ever-living crap out of this guy. Totally planned. I will point out, by the way, that I specifically kept this card till later because it just seemed so awesome. I didn't want to use it for the slow initiative, so now I'm feeling really rewarded for that choice. And we are going to attack this priest for enough damage to put him down on the spot, which makes me immediately regret poor Bob's long resting decision here, but hey, so be it. Lost those cards. And now we're going to make some choices about what we're doing on our next turn. For sure, the Bannerspear is going to take a long rest, and normally what I would do is long rest, advance on the door, but we're pretty wounded at this point in time. Oh, Bob, you should get 2 health back. We're pretty wounded at this point in time, and I think we want to make sure that we're at maximum health, so I think we're going to spend a few turns kind of collecting some treasures. We're not going to go backwards for this one, but we will collect these along the way, and then head on over to the door to prep ourselves kind of for the next room. So give me a quick moment to think about my long rest situation. Okay, so a couple things here. We're going to set up for the next turn. The card that we're choosing to lose as the Blinkblade is Sap Speed, which seems like a fine little card, but didn't do anything too impressive, so we're just going to lose that. And I'm getting ahead of myself because it's at the end of the round technically, but the Bannerspear is going to lose Driving Inspiration. Attack 2 just isn't that much. I chatted up wanting to do something in the Banner of Hope in the following kind of room where guards are, so I could be healing people within 3. I like the idea of it, but I just had too hard of a hard time cutting any of the rest of the cards. And then the Blinkblade is going to do some absolute nonsense on this turn as they go fast. First, what they're going to do is play this bottom card, lets them heal them and their allies 2 within 1 space, which is really nice for us. So heal 2 and heal 2, and then actually in the long rest, Bannerspear is going to heal the rest of their hit points there. And at the end of my turn, I can, I have to use my other time token. Well, yeah, whatever. Still, we're going to do it. To play an additional card and perform the ability. We're then going to use Temporal Displacement to move here and loot 1. So we're going to take all of this treasure. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, these are... Oh, I should have used leather armor back when I got critical. See, it helps to be my general rule of thumb, by the way, is the first time I'm attacked I use leather armor because I'm just always going to forget it anyway. And then we'll go ahead and jam this card to heal 2 on the bottom to put us to max so that we can go ahead and get our way over to the door for the next turn. All right, so these are our cards that we've spent. By the way, it seemed reasonable to use another card because the Blinkblade currently has 9 cards in their hand. So using that ability to play 3 cards means that we're going to have an even number of cards left, which is just going to slightly improve our efficiency for future turns. I may have kind of overhealed here because originally the plan was sort of to like heal along the way. But instead what we're going to do is just get ourselves into position. We want to charge as far as possible into the next room. So probably the plan is for the Bannerspear to charge in with the run 4, and we're going to go ahead and incendiary throw just because a range attack into a room always gives us options of who to target, and I like wounding people at the beginning. So that is the plan for when we go into the next room. So we just need to sort of advance forward at this point in time, and man, this character is really pretty awful at moving. So we are just going to wind up using some card. I think maybe we basically need to discard 2 cards. All right, we're going to retcon something actually since we have perfect information. We are not going to use the Blinkblade's extra card and heal themselves because the Bannerspear is going to play a regroup to heal them, and then just some other card to move 2 spaces. That's essentially what they're going to do this turn. And then the Blinkblade is going to want to move 3 spaces to get this treasure while going slowly. Let's see if there's a card that lets us do that. There is. We can play Kinetic Transfer. We don't really care about the top of our card. We will just... I don't think we're quite ready to use Cascading Reaction, although this could be the card that we use to move. So let's move with this. Do I like this card? Push people. It's an extra move 4. Yeah, we need another big move. We'll just get rid of this Drive Recharge card as the top ability. I don't think we're going to actually use the ability to gain time. We don't need that. So essentially what's going to happen is we're going to have... It doesn't really matter the order, but we have our Bannerspear going first. It's going to heal the Blinkblade, which I technically do now. And actually the Blinkblade should give them the Rejuvenate in case they do their poison shenanigans. Is going to move 3 and get the treasure here. Lots and lots of treasure. And our Bannerspear, who's just a team player, is going to move to here for the next turn. So that was me just kind of very, very quickly going through that. I didn't even put in the correct initiatives. So we're just going to do that for counting how many rounds we're going through. Hooray, next round. And we are going to open the door into the next room. Like I said, I like to open doors with big moves and some range options. This just gives us a lot based on the fact that we know very little about what's happening in the next room. Because we know this person is going really quickly as our Blinkblade, we can go ahead and use our exploit, which is going to be Borrowed Time. Borrowed Time says your bottom move is X, where X is twice the number of your allies. I took this card into the scenario because I realized just how absolutely cheaty this is in a scenario where you have a bunch of town guards in the next room. So we want some Nutters attack because we can go anywhere. So because we have our thing on us, we're going to go ahead and put Power Leak into play. However, we are going to put Power Leak, and actually we're going to go in initiative 17 because we want the Bannerspear to open the door for us. Actually, do we care? Usually I want the more tanky character to open the door for us. So we can kind of see what the lay of the room is. But no matter what we're charging... Oh, of course, we can't actually activate this card where X is twice the number of our allies. So we have to go after the Bannerspear. Because right now we only have 2 allies, and a move 4 is fine. But we want like a move a gazillion. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put us on pause so that I can set up the next room, and we're going to roll from there. All right, we had to make some sacrifices for space, so we knocked off the left side of the map. Our Bannerspear is 2 spaces from this door. The Blinkblade is 3 spaces from the door. And the city guard that's off the map there I think is going to be irrelevant, so we don't need to worry about them anymore. We've got this Algox pile, lots of loot in this room. There's another guard somewhere back here in the rubble. So we've really only got these 5 enemies. This archer, by the way, is an elite archer. I'm not going to put anything on him because the only archer, and he's marked as elite. So looks like, fight-wise, we took out 3 people in the first room pretty handily on our first lap through, or first lap and a little bit more, to kind of move through the door. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable that we're going to wind up winning this scenario. We don't want any of these guards in the back to die, but I think there's a good chance that we're going to end up aggroing all of these bad guys before they even trundle that way. Actually, kind of ideally, we would like this guy to get distracted over here because these guards are pretty tough. So I think that if we can manage that, that'd be great. But it's not essential. But we do want to pick up a lot of the treasure along the way. Also, I did not deal with doing battle masteries, the check marks in this scenario. I just thought that seemed like a little bit much on running through playing solo this first time. But it could be something that we try in the future. I do think that players should be going for their check marks pretty much every scenario. I think that, first of all, it's a lot of fun. It's my favorite part of this game, and I'll talk about that separately some other time. But also, it just adds, I think, to the challenge of it. So let's see how our plan here goes. I've kind of set up all these bad guys. I'm going to go ahead and draw the initiatives because they get drawn essentially after my first 2 movement, which opens this door here as Bannerspear. We've got 2 movement remaining when we reveal all of these bad guys. And we see that this Algox Priest is doing a range 3 move 2. So 5 spaces away, disarm attack. So we don't want to move any spaces closer. 2, 3, 4, 5. We could move up to here or up to here, but if we get any closer, we're going to get disarmed by this priest, which we don't want to do. Fortunately for us, these derpy guards are just putting up their defenses, which isn't going to matter too much. And pretty much no matter what, we're going to get shot by this Surefoot here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's also a fella hiding down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 away. So if we're 6 away from this after both of our players go, then he wouldn't shoot us. But there's just no way. There's no way that we're actually going to do that. I think actually what we're going to do is we're going to have our Bob here, who's going to have a move of 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 move. He's going to charge in here and power leak attack these two. I'm pretty sure that's the plan. So no matter what, he's going to be the target of the shoot foot. We just don't want to be disarmed by this guy. So we could not move and we can wound this fellow, or we could move and we could wound this fellow. In terms of being closer to our ally, there's not a big difference, although here we can actually jump over this with our winged boots next turn. These are actually, the rubble is difficult terrain, but these are actually obstacles in the way. I like this plan. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to incendiary throw, which makes a fire that I forgot about before because we don't care about that for any of our characters. We're going to go ahead and draw an attack, which is an attack of 3. Bannerspear, I think, is having a pretty lucky day here. So these guys have not put up their shields yet. I'm actually just do 4th point of damage to him because he's going to wound, so he'll bleed at the beginning of his turn. And then we've got this priest moving 1, 2, who's just trying to move closer. Oh, wait, no. He attacks this guy. He just goes here and attacks this fellow. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we could have moved here. 2, 3, 4, 1. Well, that was still 2 movement. But I think it's the person who's closer, even if it's the same amount of movement. So we could have moved a little bit closer for that reason. So we are going to move there. I don't think there's any reason why we want to be in that other spot. We'll move there instead. Okay, so we're going to attack this fellow in the corner here who's got shield 2. And he gets disarmed, not that we care about that. And he doesn't wind up taking any damage because city guards are awesome with their 2 shields. Great, time for our insane wombo combo fellow here, who's going to charge on in, zippity zop, to here. And, you know, it's really risky, but it's just so fun. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, thank you, a zillion allies for doubling our move speed there. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and take the poison, get the experience point, and attack both of these for an attack 4. We are going to get retaliated for 2. I guess we should wait because there's a tiny chance that we'll actually kill this guard. So we'll start with the guard. We don't kill the guard. So he's going to take... The Blinkblade has not been as good at drawing. So it's a 4, shield 1, -1. So it's 2 damage. And then we're going to go ahead and use the poison dagger, which will probably never come up again because it's unlikely that we're going to long rest in this room. I'll comment on that in a second. We're going to use the poison dagger to attack the priest here. There we go with a little bit of luck. So 6 damage with a poison. Sorry, not the priest, the archer. To drop this guy down to very killable range. He's got the most hit points, so he's an easy target for poison. That's a nice, obvious choice for us. And then we need to take our 2 retaliate damage, and we get poisoned as well, which is... maybe we shouldn't have done that, but hey, it seemed awesome, so whatever. Plus, experience. We like it. Oh, we should have used one of these to go fast this turn. We're definitely going to wind up using the leather armor when the guy shoots our foot because we just don't want to take the damage. So what I was saying about not long resting in this room, this is a big room with a lot of active things going on. The only time we'll wind up long resting is like when everything is nearly dead, and then we get these items back that we don't really need anyway. So I don't think it's going to make a huge difference if we wind up long resting. Generally, long resting while there are more than one monster is active, is not is a losing proposition. Like the extra 2 healing you would get for long resting that turn is not generally beneficial in comparison. All right, we're gonna have this archer back up. This is one of those things where we can use the AI. Like they're gonna back up to be further away from this, so I think most people would just kind of like straight line it back here, but the AI actually says just back up really in any efficient pattern, which this is just as efficient and is closer to our friend here. So we're going to go ahead and back up this way. We're going to shoot our Blink Blade with disadvantage. So 2 points of damage, but it's really 3 because of the poison. 1, 2, 3. And the Blink Blade is also not going to be able to move on their next turn. All right. So far, you know, we I think have engaged pretty aggressively in this room. I'm going to make this bigger again. Sorry, I realized that that was probably a little bit hard for you to see. But we're engaging pretty aggressively. So the door opening strategy of like make as much space as possible. And then you notice as soon as I opened the door, I stopped. I checked what the villains were doing, and then I made a game plan based off of it. I was a little bit confused because this fellow's in the back here who is drawing the aggro backwards, which is pretty rare in most scenarios. Usually enemies are just coming straight towards you. So opening a door, I think opening door strategy is one of the most important things that you can get in any of the Haven games. And start to understand. And so that like a lot of move and a ranged attack gives you a lot of mobility, a lot of options on that first turn. If we were feeling a little bit more cautious with our Blink Blade, we could have come up around the corner and just attacked this fellow here instead of going for the attack on both of them. The archer is the primary threat in this room. Archers just do a lot of damage, and this is an elite. I mean, you can even look at their stat cards, you know, right here where it's saying that the elite archer is shooting for 4, and a lot of the archer attack blocks just do extra damage, do annoying things like pin us and things like that. So trying to get that guy down is a really big deal. The Blink Blade is in a little bit of trouble right now, so really he needs to get out of there kind of as fast as possible, frankly. He's sort of done his damage, and so we might kind of be collapsing southward or over up to the side here. And the Bannerspear, I think, is going to really want to try to focus on taking out this now poisoned Algox Archer, because the Bannerspear's got a lot of hit points to go with. If this is going to continue to aggro on the guard over here, we think that's great. Generally, the priests aren't going to do a ton of damage. They're going to do more of those annoying effects. So we're hoping that he doesn't wind up drawing healing or anything like that. And we will see how this puppy goes. All right, I know we said we're going to get the Blink Blade out of there, but the best offense... Oh, no, I was wrong because the Blink Blade is pinned. Hold on, I need to fix my turn. All right, hilariously, I'm playing the same cards anyway. Let me tell you what I was thinking of doing before I realized that my poor fellow was immobilized. He was going to run like crazy over here and damage these guys and then just go on a stabbing spree. And that was going to be all good and wonderful. Because we were just going to kind of like wipe out the board and I think keep him alive that way. Unfortunately, in this instance, that doesn't actually work. We instead are just going to need to save him. So what we're going to do is have him still go fast, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we need to make sure that his initiative happens before the Bannerspear's initiative, who we're hoping to go early enough that the Bannerspear can activate this grant to allies within 2 spaces move 2 to get the Blink Blade out of trouble. That's kind of our goal here. And then you notice that I swapped cards because originally I was planning on putting the Blink Blade into a nice kind of pincer movement with me, but I think the reality here is we're just going to put down this javelin and intentionally go on the slower initiative so that we can work with our ally here. A little bit of a crummy turn, a little bit of a mixed bag, but this is what we get for having a really powerful turn last time. We now need to get out of this situation before we get into too much trouble, and we just hope we don't draw Poison Shiv on our guards. Great, so this actually works out pretty nicely. I don't think there's a place where this priest can attack 2 folks, so it's going to continue to attack our ally and give their deck a curse, which is not too much of a concern for us because they are not attacking. And so they'll go ahead and do an attack 2, which is really going to wind up being 1 point of damage to guard number 3 hidden down in the corner here. No real concerns for us. Then the Algox guards are going to be chucking axes, and the Algox archer is going to be doing a power shot, which is a little bit of a pain. So, all right, we're going to have Bob go here. And Bob is going fast, and then these bottom abilities functionally don't matter. We're going to go ahead and use this. All adjacent allies and enemies suffer 1, because why not pile on some extra damage? I think there's a good chance we're going to kill this guard, because we're going to do an attack 1 followed by an attack 2, which is going to be 0 damage followed by 0 damage. So unfortunately, even though things were supposed to go pretty nicely for Bob, I think we were going to do enough damage. We only really needed to do 2 damage, because this guard would have bled to death on the beginning of their next turn. And unfortunately, that sort of does not happen to be the case. So now we have a really, actually quite an interesting choice with this person. So our plan is to move within range of the Blinkblade and then allow the Blinkblade to move. And we really don't want the Blinkblade to be attacked, frankly, at all. So if we move, let's say here or here, we're going to draw aggression from these two. But we want this Blinkblade to get out of there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, this is actually going to attack the Blinkblade unless we wind up moving here. And this is also going to attack us. So that's a lot of attacks. The Javelin here does 3 damage, and the Archer is poisoned. So that would be 4 points of damage, essentially, as base. And the Archer's got 5 hit points left. So if we drew any kind of plus, which we have drawn 4 of our deck's 7 pluses, we've got 3 remaining out of 3, 6, 7, 8, 3 remaining. We got a 25% chance that we'd kill this guy on the spot, which is really the best case scenario, because he attacks for quite a lot of damage. I think, though, what we're going to do is we're going to play conservative, because we have a lot of attacks coming in on us this turn. And what we're going to do instead is we're going to chuck this Javelin at the guard that we missed to finish him off, because we really only need 2 damage. So not a miss or not a -2 is going to do the trick. And we should have attacked the Archer, but c'est la vie. We do kill this fellow, which just gives us a little bit more breathing room. We're going to move up, and we're going to move into melee with this Archer, because the Archer is doing a power shot, and the power shot means that he's not going to move, so he'll have disadvantage on his attack by us engaging in melee with him. And then we're going to have the Blinkblade move 2 spaces. Now the Blinkblade is a lower initiative, so if we move here, still going to pull aggro. What's the range on this? 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. It's still going to come at us. I mean, I could move the Blinkblade. Could move the Blinkblade there. That's the only way to get him fully out of trouble. And then we just tank everything. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We do have wind, by the way, in case that matters for us next turn. Now I wish I had that banner that I was talking about earlier. Okay. All right, and then we're going to take a pile of attacks. This is going to attack us. He's going to move up and attack us. They're going to be attack 3s. Then it's going to be an attack 5. So we're just going to end up using a shield on the very first attack. There's really no reason not to. When we suffer damage, I suppose. Let's go through and do this misery. So attack 3. Ooh. We don't use a shield. We're going to lose a card. We don't want to take 6 damage. We're going to lose our pincer movement out of our hands. Good card, but we want these other 2 cards for next turn, I think. Yeah. Yeah, we just can't afford to take a 6 attack, I think. I mean, we can. We just don't want to, knowing what else is coming this turn. So now we're taking a 3 attack, which we will shield for 1. And then a disadvantaged attack from the Archer at 5. Yeah, see, this is why, like, we knew it was coming, so we preemptively stopped the thing that seemed like it would be the worst. There's an argument certainly to be made for losing a card to prevent the 5 damage as well, because 5 is a lot of damage. That being said, I have exactly 2 cards in hand, and so I really like to play them, although I'm going to go really late, and then I'm going to start losing cards from my discard pile. So yeah, here's what I'm talking about is next turn, if I played these 2 cards, I'm going at 60. And there's a really good chance that I'm going to take a series of pummels from these guys. And if they drop me, if any of those attacks are 3s, I have to lose a card or exhaust. And I don't have any cards in hand, so I'd actually be losing 2 cards from the discard pile. So I was getting real cocky about how things were going, and suddenly things are going poorly. I actually think I am going to lose a card from hand. I can't afford to pay my health for at all costs, but the summon reinforcement on the bottom is like generating my own health by throwing them in the way. So I'm actually going to lose Rallying Cry, and then we're going to wind up taking 2 short rests because both my characters are down to 1 card each, and we'll see how that goes for us. So yeah, maybe the previous round we were a little bit too aggressive by charging in the way that we did, or we didn't end up focusing fire quite enough. Drawing the misses when we did for that fellow up there was really a shame, because if the Blinkblade had killed that and then we drew the critical here, we'd be in just a totally different position. Here's our lost card. We lose our javelin. That's fine for us. And that really, yeah, it was really just, I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes. I still think we're in good shape. We still have a lot of cards left. We're just having to kind of go a little bit awkward, go off cycle, losing cards into a scenario. I don't like losing a card from hand. Oh, I lost a card from hand to not take the 5 points of damage. I don't like losing a card from hand when I have 2 cards left, because I'm usually card management is the biggest problem that you're having in scenarios, but this is a short scenario. We're going to lose this card for our Blinkblade. This is a short scenario because we're in the last room already. Our goal is just kind of to keep these guards alive, finish off these Algox, who are certainly showing that they are not a threat to be trifled with. Okay, let's see what we're doing. All right, so we figured out what our round looks like here. First of all, our Blinkblade's going to be going a little bit slow this turn because he is out of timing markers. So he'll be going at 54. We just played the card that made sure that we had heal at the bottom to get this stupid poison off of us. And then the top is a little bit of healing and movement. And then our Bannerspear, one of the advantages of kind of ending up resting for this turn is that we picked up our deflecting maneuver, and we did make wind with our javelin last turn. So we're going to throw up our deflecting maneuver and then dump a summon reinforcements into play pretty quickly, which is just a nice way for us to wind up tanking here. We get to choose whether we go before bad guys. This is one of the luckiest draws we could get for those Algox guards. Oh, this one's dead. Because they're essentially not doing anything. Putting up shields and retaliate here is the best thing that they can do for us. That archer is going to do pile of damage. The Algox priest is going to attack the guy, so we're going to have a little bit of a respite this turn. Let's see what happens with this deflecting maneuver as we attack the Algox archer. So it's I do have advantage on the attack. Doesn't matter. So we'll get an experience for that, and we're going to plug him for 3, which is really 4 due to the poison. Unfortunate that he doesn't quite die. He will have disadvantage on attacking us, but actually we don't want to get attacked. We are going to summon this reinforcement to just take the hits for us instead. It doesn't much matter where the reinforcement goes. If we wanted the reinforcement to live, we'd summon it behind us so that the archer would aggro on us, but we really just played that reinforcement to get into the way. So that is the Bannerspear's turn. And then we're going to move on to guards who put up their defenses. Calculated strike, so this is going to back up. We're going to back up in such a way that he's adjacent to his ally here, so we can maybe pull some concentrated efforts or whatever, and then shoot this guy for approximately a zillion damage, which kills him on the spot. Fine for us. Much better him taking the 6 points of damage than us taking the 6 points of damage. And then this guy's doing nothing special. He's doing an attack 3, which is indeed an attack 3 on this guard that's just been kind of hunkering down in the back there. So a nice turn of respite for us. This one, we're going to move 1 space and heal ourselves for 2, which gets rid of our poison. That's been gone. And then we can move 1 space and make an attack at range 2. We're going to move just a little bit closer. We'll wind up picking up this loot at the end of the turn and then chucking this dagger at 2 range to our fellow here. This slow thing I'm pretty sure means +1 range to give it 2 range. I don't know why going really slowly means that I have to throw a dagger, but I will take it, thematic questions aside, for an entire point of damage, which is nothing because he put up a shield this turn, and we make an ice, which we hardly care about. Okay, back to a little breathing space. Now that the Blinkblade is next to this fellow, we do have some healing that can be played targeting our allies, so we might wind up doing that. Let's take a look and think about it. Bit of a goofy turn ahead of us. So actually what we decided to do, Incendiary Throw, we realized if we can throw something at this guy, which would then wound this guy, it would guarantee that the Algox Archer is going to die at the beginning of its turn from taking the 1 damage from the wound. So we get a little bit of value there and a guarantee kill. Don't have to worry about drawing any hits or misses. And the bottom here is going to allow us to move the Blinkblade kind of along with us somewhere. So we could set up the Blinkblade to heal both of us. And then we wanted to go slower than this initiative. We wanted to go slower than 22. And unfortunately, the good cards for our fast initiatives were all faster than 22. 17, 19, and 20 very awkwardly. And so ironically, we're going to go slow, which is fine because then we can kind of just go fast and burn out the rest of the scenario to do that heal. And then the top of this card is probably just going to be used for a base melee 2 action, which is not that exciting, but we're just managing our initiative here so that we can have the Bannerspear kind of take the best turn possible. And we'll see if contact with the enemy agrees. Oh no. Okay, well, this guy isn't actually moving. This guy isn't actually moving, and then he's going to create a trap. It's going to create a trap in an adjacent X closest to one of these two. We're going to put it here because it's less in our way if it's there. And then we're going to do an attack 3. So it does 3 points of damage. Yeah, it was not the best draw. We also have this priest who is... The AI on the healing on the priests is really goofy because they move into melee. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. If I move here, 4. They try to move into melee before they heal. We don't want him to be healing any of our people over here. So actually, I think we can hack the enemy AI a bit. You would think that he would move towards people that he's healing, but he's not. He's moving into melee, which is just a goofy rule. Hopefully I have that correct. Maybe I'll have people in the comments disagreeing with me, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. Rules is read. So if we can move more than 4 spaces away, he's going to wind up trundling in this direction and then healing someone within range 3, which is not going to do anything. So that's a way that we can kind of waste this fellow's turn. We're still going to do the same plan with the Incendiary Throw, I think. We're still going to Incendiary Throw on this fellow. So we can just start off by doing that. And we draw a +1, so we do 2 points of damage to number 2. 1, 2, and a wound. And we'll throw a wound onto the archer, who unfortunately did get to go this turn. And then we're going to do our bottom ability of move 2. So we're going to move 2 here. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to just have the Blinkblade back up with us. And the Blinkblade's attack action is going to be wasted this turn, but so is this guy's action. And the Blinkblade's attack action was only going to be a melee 2 anyway, so that seems like a fair trade, melee 2 for a heal 3. I'm pretty okay with that, and then we continue to lock this guy up against a guard who is doing just fine in the corner over here. I'm a big fan of that. It kind of wastes the Blinkblade's turn, but we're in tandem here. That's the plan. All right, then this fellow does exactly what we talked about, kind of trundles in that direction, and then now it's Bob's turn. Bob could come over instead and attack here, do an attack 2 here, but I think a healing 2 is going to be right up our alley in this instance with a wasted top. A little bit of a bummer, but hey, you don't need to be effective every turn to do something of significance. Now we're going to get a bunch of axes thrown at us. You're going to bleed. Gonna get a bunch of axes thrown. Do we care about this guy being here? I think we'll just put him closer to the rest of the stuff there for looting purposes, I guess, later. And 2 attack 3s against our Bannerspear, which is a 2 and a 5. But we can't take 5, so we're gonna lose a card. And again, we only have 2 cards, so really, really inefficient. We're just going to lose this card. Well, no, we want the move. We're going to lose this card, even though it's some nice healing that we probably need in these situations. But hopefully we're rounding the corner here. It might not feel that way, but certainly getting a little bit closer. I guess in theory, long rest with the Bannerspear, but it's really just not worth it. Not for the 1 shield, not for the 2 healing. We just want to like take people down. Fortunately for us, this archer is as good as dead on its next turn. There's really nothing that's going to change that. So we're really just kind of looking to take out these final villains in this moment here. Yeah. We'll figure that out. All right, Bannerspear's in a little bit of a dire straits card-wise here, but exhausting doesn't really matter. We did unfortunately lose our big move card as part of our rest. We could have lost a hit point to lose a different card, but I don't feel super passionately about that anyway. Looking actually at the count of cards that were left for the Bannerspear, I think a long rest would have been certainly able to be considered, but the Blinkblade's doing pretty okay, and so just pushing to the end of the scenario, I think, is a legitimate option for us here. And we're going pretty fast. The Blinkblade has a lot of cards left, so we're pretty sure we're going to use this as a loss. Just go run around and stab all of these fellows. For some reason, they're all going at an initiative that's faster than us, which is really kind of miserable in the scenario where we're planning on doing 2 attacks like that. So we might make a plan change here. Fortunately, they're not going to attack us, and this archer is going to die on the spot, leaving some treasure behind. And this guy over here is going to heal all allies and bless himself at the end of the round. I'm just going to go do that now because otherwise I'll forget. So he'll get a bless and he's going to move 1, but again, he's just moving. So we're doing his move out of order at the end of the round, but it just really doesn't make any difference for us. So we're going to do that so we can think about over here. All right, so I'd originally planned on doing kind of like a combined effort with this guy. Number 2 should have bled a little bit. We'd like to get wounds up on this fellow here. Now it doesn't feel great to do multiple attacks, so instead actually we're gonna switch our plans. We're gonna do this move 4, all allies add to their move abilities, blah blah blah, and we're gonna wind up attacking this guy so that we can give him a wound and an attack 4 as well. Or do I just focus on finishing the one guy? Actually, we're going to... It's kind of overkill. We do want to output damage. Here's what I'm thinking, right? I could move the Blinkblade here, attack, move the Bannerspear here, attack. Almost certainly this guy would die this turn. I want them to be next to each other so I can use combined effort. That would be an attack 7 in total. And we each pick up a loot, which is also nice. Alternatively, I could have the Blinkblade come over here, attack 4, which puts a wound on him. The earlier you put wounds on people, the more they kind of generate value over the course of the conflict. Let's be greedy. All right, let's be efficient is actually the correct. So I'm actually going to go here. Yeah, I'm going to go here. I'm going to be efficient. We're going to attack 4. Indeed a 4. And a wound. Oh, and he's got a shield. So 1 fewer, and we are retaliated for 2. Cool. And then I'm going to amend one more time. It doesn't change anything for the attack, but I'm realizing I can incendiary throw this guy to do the wound. So we'll do the same thing, but instead of doing the 3 damage here, we do the 3 damage here, and we get this. The reason we're doing that instead is because now I originally was planning on doing a combined effort, but I don't want this person to get retaliated. So incendiary throw is a ranged attack. So we'll range attack this guy for 0 damage, but we do put that wound on him. And then we'll move here, move 2, so that we can get some treasure finally, and we can grant some allies a move 2. So we're going to move the Blinkblade here because is that where we want them? What are you doing, Blinkblade? Just kind of stabbing on their next turn? Stabbing and healing? Yeah, and we went fast this turn, so we're down a token there. Okay, yeah, that's the plan, man. That's what we're doing. All right, I think both of our characters are down to 2 cards here, so we're just going to go ahead and play these out. Only question is whether this is fast or slow. Hardly, mostly makes an initiative difference. We'll go slow. I'm just debating whether I want the Bannerspear to go intentionally slow at 60 so that the Blinkblade draws the aggro. No, Blinkblade's at 3. All right, so we've got 15 and 47. And parrying and thrusting again. Oh, you're dead. You've been dead. And this continues to move up into melee over here. He's getting confused. We might have to charge over there. We'll see. Great. This is annoying for the retaliate, but is great for all other purposes. Given the retaliate, I don't really want the Bannerspear to attack. And attack 2 is not worth it into a shield 1 retaliate 2. Oh, this fellow should have bled. I guess technically, actually, we're first at 15. We're first at 15. No, that's okay. We're still going to do this. Heal 3 to all allies. Just since that guy is over there, might as well ensure that he lives. And we take 3 damage, which is fine because we're on the verge of passing out anyway. And then we're going to move 2. I mean, what I want to do is get treasure. I think we're going to move 2 here so that we can attack this guy and then move on to the treasure next turn. Because we're kind of on our final legs here. Or though, you know, I could long rest to ensure that we live for longer. So maybe we move here, knowing that we're long resting next turn. We'll move there, knowing that we're long resting next turn. This is even better. Because it gives us more options of where we're heading next. Okay, so we're moving there with the plan of long resting next turn. We're also equidistant from this fellow who's going to aggro on the Blinkblade if that matters. Now the Blinkblade's going to go. He's going to heal himself for 2 and put a rejuvenate up. And then we're going to do... Actually, we're going to do that second. Because the first thing we're going to do is an attack 4. Which is enough to kill this guy. But if it hadn't been enough to kill this guy, or if we'd missed or something like that, we would have taken some extra damage from the retaliate, and we'd want that rejuvenate to be up. So the fact that you can... There's a lot of like video games where it's like move and then attack, and that kind of like can mess things up. So just make sure that you're being aware that you could do that. And it looks like we muddle ourselves, actually. So we are muddled for next turn, which we should be sure to remember. A little bit of a pain. Do we long rest? Yeah, we're in no hurry. Everybody long rests this next turn. I said generally it's not good with multiple monsters active, but one of them is sort of not active. He's just kind of confused in the corner there as the computer is kind of broken. He's just kind of spamming healing in the corner. And then this fellow who's going to bleed a little bit on his turn is going to come over and attack. It's our choice because they're both at 99 initiative. So we're going to have him attack the Blinkblade, who's in much better shape and is at full. And the attack is going to be, well, it doesn't hardly matter, but if it had been 2 damage, the Blinkblade would have healed it on the long rest anyway. So this is actually kind of an ideal situation for us to go ahead and long rest. And then we get our various equipment back for what that matters. And then we choose cards to lose. We don't need this anymore. So we're losing Deflecting Maneuver just because we don't really have wind generation all that much anymore. And then the Blinkblade, we're losing our drive recharge because we're at max health right now and we really need to be pushing towards the end. As opposed towards the beginning here. We did have a little bit of an inefficient turn with the Blinkblade there because we were going slow and we were already capped out at slow. So, if we had thought about that in advance, maybe we should have gone fast a bit earlier, but at least we are no longer muddled. And so we're going to choose our cards for the next round. And I'm going to kind of do like a wait and see. Let's see. With the Bannerspear, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get a wound over on this guy here. So we'll go on the slower side and then toss this incendiary thing. Although he's just constantly spamming heals, so maybe it's kind of irrelevant. But and then we're going to have the Blinkblade go fast because fast usually means more murder. Ooh, we're going to kinetic transfer because then we'll push him through that trap for 3 points of damage. That's a pretty nice and easy choice. And then on the bottom, maybe we just run this way. We run over towards the shaman and make this guy chase us. Yeah, we like that. Run towards the shaman, make that guy chase us. So let's go pretty quickly then instead of waiting and seeing. So we're going to go 20 and 22. And we'll start playing our cards up in the corner here because we've got space over there now. Okay, drain strength. He's going to back up and shoot this guy. Doesn't go so well for him. He's just on a shield constantly. Bob is going to do his attack. Attack 2. Criticals for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pushes through the trap for another 3. And then this guy's going to bleed to death. So we're going to end up pushing him 1, 2, 3. And then he'll bleed to death over here when it's his turn. So we'll just remove him now so we don't need to worry about it. And then we're going to move our 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this is gone. We're going to realize that actually we need to move 5 here because this fellow is only moving 2. And then, oh, nope, that's fine. We could just move 2 like that. 2 like that. Yep. And chuck the incendiary. Now, we still want this to help out our Bannerspear because maybe we can hop over and get this treasure with a pathetic move too. So we'll chuck our incendiary thing. It's a round of criticaling with numbers that hardly matter. So it's 1 point of damage and a wound on that fellow. And then our Bannerspear is down to 3 cards. So we're going to wind up long resting on this next turn. Fine. And Bob needs to move 2 and stab. Well, here's also where we think about greed. So Bob's got 5 cards left. Oh no, Bob's got way more than 5 cards left because we just played 2 cards. Yeah, Bob's in great shape. Did I lose a card on the previous round? Yes, I lost my drive recharge. So here's now where we like, oh, are we greedy? Do we go and get more loot? that certainly could be our choice. We've got the time. Yeah, let's be greedy. Why not? We're just going slow. Then slow Bob. Draw for the round. Okay. That's bummer. Moves into melee. Nope, with 50. With this person. Okay. Bob's original plan was to make him suffer 2 for being wounded. That doesn't work. So instead, Bob's just going to come pick up some treasure. All right, the reason that we can afford to be greedy like that is because Bob still has their super move. So they're gonna, I didn't take the slow from last round, but they're going to use their speed thing. They'll go hyper fast, stab the crap out of this guy. Let's stab him with experience for fun. No. Yeah, we'll do that. And then hardly matters what we do over here. We'll have done this and this. 2 for Bob, 22 for this person. Let's see what's going on. Doing a little disarm action. That's pretty annoying. Bob's move is 1, 2, 3. There's actually a 4th guard back here. So 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll run over here for fun. Now we'll move here. And then we'll do an attack 2 with a poison, followed by, I haven't shuffled this deck, followed by an attack 3, which will actually get the benefits of said poison. So here's a poison. And then we will get an experience as well, which I might have missed earlier, but it's possible that I've missed a few experiences, but I've not really prioritized doing that many experience things throughout this encounter, I'll say. That is, you know, a strategy along with the sort of check marks that I maybe haven't been considering as much. We've mostly just been focused on trying to win the scenario. And I like to be in a position where, you know, like we're at right now, like I chose to be greedy and go get an additional loot bag. That's something that you can choose to do as the scenario goes on, as you know you're nearing the end of it, and that you have the option to sort of say, okay, well, I'm going to burn this lost card for 2 experience points. So that tends to be my kind of strategy and focus towards experience. Like it is sort of the journey along the way. My goal is not generally to maximize those things, but if you really care about your experience, you can do that. I think that there are ways to sort of maximize that. And you know, the Blinkblade has a lot of cards left, really comfortable, but the Bannerspear is about to pass out because things went a little awry in the middle, and maybe we could have gone a little bit harder. Like one of the things is maybe we should have used more lost cards kind of in the initial encounter here to sort of plug the enemies and get them distracted. Although that being said, I'm not thinking of a particular card that I really wish that I had played in that instance. So we'll see how it goes. Attack 2, which is critical, of course. Attack 3 with poison, which is +1. So we're going to do 4, but it's a shield, so 3. And then another attack 4, and then shield poison cancels out. So 3 and 4 is 7, which is actually going to kill this guy on the spot unintentionally. We'd actually kind of hoped that he'd stick around for a little bit longer, because that means that the scenario is about to end. And now is the Bannerspear. We can either choose to use our boots to get some loot, or we can get to experience by summoning our Torchbearer, as we were just kind of talking about. Either is fine, and we'll move to the end of the scenario here with no guards dead, and actually our Bannerspear not even exhausting, our Blinkblade with a lot of cards left, so certainly could have maybe taken a few of the hits for that Bannerspear. I maybe got a little bit too nervous about the about the Blinkblade getting killed while we were in the situation over here when the Blinkblade was pinned, and could have considered, I think, maybe approaching that a little bit differently. But this was our approach. We were victorious against level 2 bad guys. And again, I don't think that the perfect information of weaving our initiative came into play that often. It does here and there, but usually just kind of having some codes of like, I'm going really fast, or I need you to go a little bit slower so I can execute that plan, means largely things are going to work out, in your group's favor with that advantage, and you're not going to be playing at the +1 difficulty. Which, I mean, the only difference there really is that the enemies are hitting just a smidge harder, which we saw did come into play in this scenario, and I have a few more hit points, which I think was actually not so relevant in this scenario. So we could have been a little bit greedier here with our experience points. We could have been a little bit greedier here maybe with the loot, but we cleaned up about half the loot. We cleaned up all the monsters and win pretty resoundingly. I hope this was helpful for you. Maybe you have comments about specific strategic tips along the way. If you liked this, let me know. I would happily do this for more scenarios. And have a wonderful day, everyone. Thanks for watching.